going on, guys? We're down here at Headland Park Golf Club here on the sunny coast. We're going to have a new segment this week. It's called 9 Holes, 9 Questions. The reason we're down here playing golf is that, you know, a couple of years ago when I decided to get really on top of my brain health, I read a lot about how important it is to start a new skill, learn something different. And like, I guess like all men above the age of 30, we always run a marathon or we get into playing golf, and I've chosen golf. So, but also it's a good way. We're all outdoors, connected with our mates. It's a skill that you can never master. I played with an 80-year-old, 70-year-old last week, and he's been playing since he was 12, and he's just like, mate, you can never master the game. So I really love the learning side of it. When you're learning a new skill, you're going to be shit at it. You practice, you stay committed. And before you know it, you can kind of hit a ball. So we'll find out today. I've only been playing for about 6 months now, so but I'm hooked, absolutely hooked on it. So Harry's going to be asking me a question every hole, and it'll be all the questions you guys sent in yesterday. So let's give it a go. See how we go. Hole 1.
Yeah.
Hole 1 at Headland Golf Park. First tee.
When do you feel most like yourself, and why?
Nice question. All right. This is going to be distracting when I go hit it. Hit the shed over the bunker.
Yep.
That's a bit of a slice. I feel most like myself around my loved ones, around my family and friends who have known me for years, who know the true me, who have stuck by me, who have seen all the changes and all the growth that I've gone through. I think that's when I feel like I'm more like myself, because all my walls are down, my guards are down. I don't have to try to impress anyone or be anyone else. That they know me for exactly the ugly versions, and they know me for all the beautiful versions. So I think yeah, when I'm just hanging out with my family and friends, my wife, that's when I truly feel like myself. And then on the other end of that, definitely when I'm recording episodes with guests, I think I've never felt so much fulfillment and joy when I'm in the studio and having these conversations with people. I think, and I sometimes catch myself having this train of thought when I'm chatting to someone, going like, how good's this? I love that I get to do this. And so I think those two situations are definitely when I feel like most like myself. But I think the tougher question is, oh, there's my ball. I was gonna say, where's my ball? Hey, not bad. I don't mind that. Just avoid the sand. Golf's a simple game.
Well, with that, before, what makes you feel like yourself? When are things that have made you not feel like yourself?
Definitely when I didn't have boundaries, or I didn't have my non-negotiables. So I would say yes to things that I wouldn't really want to do just to impress people, just to feel, you know, one of the big things was when I was searching for external validation from people or from situations, or I'd find myself in things where I'm just like, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. I don't feel like myself. I feel like I'm faking it. So a lot of that came down with like the drinking culture that I was around. Like I just didn't feel like that was myself. I didn't enjoy it. Every time I went out, I was trying to like fake having fun. I wasn't actually really enjoying myself at all. It wasn't until I got home when I was just like, thank God I'm not there anymore. So I think when you put those like hard lines in the sand, it was just like, you know what? I don't need to you know, drink alcohol and go out and party just to try to fit in or be myself. I love who I am, and if that means not drinking, then that's fine with me.
Wow, never in doubt.
Thank you very much.
Any Nah, that's fine. It was never in doubt.
Oh, wind in our face. This is the second tee. Hard the first one. Harry, what's your question?
How do you define true happiness?
Oh, true happiness. Good question. True happiness is a good one, because for a long time I thought about happiness as being the end goal. I thought that was like the final destination of being happy. And I tell you a little story. I was pretty naive growing up, thinking that like true happiness is not having any problems. Like I thought that was like a happy life was having no problems at all. But then I'd always have like these problems come up, and I'm like, why not happy? And then the step further than that was me understanding that it's not about not having any problems. It's about how to handle those problems and regulate yourself. And then a step further than that now is I've realized like that then they're not problems at all. They're just opportunities to learn, to grow, to get better. So happiness is actually not something that I try to chase too much, because I want to feel all the emotions. I want to open myself up to all the emotions, whether it's sadness, grief, frustration, anger, happiness. Like I want to be able to feel all those things. So I guess what I'm actually chasing now is peace and joy. And that's internally. I think once you start loving yourself, then you can, you open yourself up to loving others. So I think, as hippie as that sounds, internally, true happiness for me is finding peace and joy in my everyday life. Like I get to wake up and I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy with the friends that I've got, and I love myself. Like I love who I am, and that's a big thing for me because I went through years not liking who I was. So peace and joy, that's what I try aim for.
I heard you feel true happiness when you have true protein.
That is, if we're talking about, one of the euphoric feelings of coming home from work out in the mines, is making yourself a true protein smoothie. That is honestly a game changer. Flushes everything out from the week away at work. Makes me feel so good. I have the best sleeps, the most energy, and also just tastes really good. Honestly, it's a mood uplifter. I absolutely love it. All right, they're waiting for me. Just rolls down to the right a little bit. Do you see we're between the tree then? That's exactly what I wanted. I forgot, Harry. Get in, boss.
What are things that you didn't expect would make you happy that do make you very happy?
Alone time. I used to be big on afraid of the thoughts in my head, or afraid of having, sitting in a quiet place by myself. I thought was hell. I thought that was going to be torture, but the more I thought out and resolved some of the things that were going on inside me, I actually love my alone time. I love a bit of peace and quiet, sitting by myself within my own thoughts. I've realized about me that I'm actually super creative, and I've got a wild imagination. So I love those moments where I'm just relaxing by myself.
Imagination for good, not wondering about the bad possible.
Yeah, big time. Like not thinking about all the negative things, all the things that could happen to me. It's in a negative way, but thinking about all the possibilities all the things that are possible in my life. It's incredible. Oh, bugger. Hole 3, par 4. A bit of a shocker on that hole 2, but it's all right. I was telling you before. Forget about it. New hole. What's the question? This one.
What's your vision for the podcast 5 years from now?
Oh, good question. Something I've actually thought about a lot lately. So, golf's that game where you don't want to think too much, but at the same time, you've got to keep those little cues in your head. So, clear mind, but you got to have little objectives you want to do. So, let's get going, Harry. I want to be doing this full time. Like my dream life is reporting episodes with people from all around the world, from different backgrounds, different genres, different jobs, all that sort of stuff. I want the opportunity to share people's stories as much as I can for as long as I can. I would love to start doing live events as well. But what I'm also really passionate about is actually talking to the younger generation. So I don't want kids to go through things that I went through, or have the same mindsets or beliefs about themselves. So my big thing is I would love to involve myself in whether it be sporting clubs or teams, or this is general population. I'm really passionate about the homelessness. I'm really passionate about youth, disadvantaged youth. So I would love to involve myself in an area where I can offer some sort of guidance or understanding and learn more and share my stories and have a positive impact on the youth coming through, because that's where the real change is going to lie. Like I know it's taken us generations and generations to get ourselves in this state of mental fitness. So I understand that it's going to take a few generations to get ourselves out of it, and those few generations are the young kids coming through now. So that's where I want to leave my fingerprint on, especially with the podcast, that kids can grow up knowing that they don't have to change who they are or pretend to be someone else just to fit in. I want kids to understand that they are perfectly fine being who they are, and they belong. You know, there's a difference between fitting in and belonging. Fitting in, you're sort of fitting with everyone else, you're the same as everyone else. Belonging is that you're individually yourself, authentically yourself, and people accept you for that. So there's a lot of ways to go to get to that point, but that's something that I'm thinking about a lot, especially being a new dad as well. Like, that's something that I'm so passionate about, and I'm really looking forward to this. So that's a lot of, you can probably tell that, like, that's what I'm really passionate about.
It's a great part. It's a great part.
Hole 3 wasn't too bad. Bogey that one. What's the next question?
What's something you're still working on?
Oh, well, Harry, as you know, the work never stops. So
Shot.
I think a big thing for me, and something that I noticed quite early on that I struggled with, was emotional regulation. I think that's something that, looking back on in my life, all the situations where I lost control, I had sort of mental episodes, I couldn't regulate myself. I see areas in my life where that is still showing, so I'm very aware of it, I'm very conscious of it, and I'm putting a lot of effort and energy into still understanding my own emotions and knowing what regulating looks like, because it can look different to everyone else. I felt like something that I realized earlier on too is exercise really, really helps me get centered and regulate my emotions. I think being honest and communicating those when I'm having a low, when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling like a little bit overwhelmed, communicating that with my wife. I think for a lot of the years, my whole life, I kept it so secret and hidden and didn't want to talk to anyone about it because I didn't know what to say or how to articulate my words around it, where now I can articulate myself around what I'm feeling, what's going inside my head. So it's just bridging that gap and being a bit more vulnerable, even with my wife now, who we are very, very vulnerable with each other, but there's still always room for improvement, and understanding that just be honest with her and communicate those struggles with her. And when you're having a low, tell her you're in a low, or tell your family, tell your friends, and be a bit more vocal with that. Because I've always been quite private. I've always, if you ask me like, how you going? I've always been like, nah, I'm going all right. But I want to cut that shit out, because that's just modeling bad behaviors to not only your friends and your family, but the next generation. So if someone asks me how I'm going, I pause and actually think about that answer, whereas it's so easy just to go, yeah, no, I'm all good. So that's the thing that I'm working on, emotional regulation and being honest with friends and family about how I'm truly feeling, and understand that if they want to help you, accept help. I know for men, it's so hard to accept help. We feel like weak, or we feel like a failure, but accepting help strengthens a relationship with someone. So that's something that I'm very conscious of, that I'm working on. If everyone in the world, who would I love to play a round of golf with? I think that's a pretty easy one for most golfers. I think most people that love golf, they all got into golf because of Tiger Woods. I would love to play around with him. No cameras, no microphones, and really ask him some questions about the glory days. I think that would be quite interesting. Even playing the game just a little bit, understanding like the science behind the game, and there's like the mindset, the mental warfare that he used to play with players. And like I've played a lot of sports, and I found that golf is by far the hardest sport, by far. Just the mindset around it, like each shot you have to be, like everything has to be almost perfect. Yeah, that's what you're searching for. You're searching for like the perfect game. And you're never gonna, I don't know if you're ever gonna find it. But watch this, Harry. Bastard. Double bogey. Why do men struggle so much with their mental health? Well, a lot of us were, no fault of our own, no fault of our parents, but a lot of us had these behaviours modelled into us when we were growing up. Like, our parents didn't know. They were doing the best they could with what they had. The education and the knowledge around your mental health wasn't what it like now that it was, 30 years ago. So I think a lot to do with that. Like, I had a chat to a guy at work, and he's like, I hate having like these vulnerable conversations. And I said, why do you hate having it for? And he goes, oh, I'm just not used to it. And I go, so it's new? And he goes, yeah. Well, I'm like, well, anything new, you're going to feel, you're going to feel a little bit scared. You're going to feel a little bit awkward. You don't know what you're doing. So I think a big thing of it is just treating mental health, if you're not comfortable with it, treating it like a new skill, a new hobby, that it's going to feel different, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Sorry, Harry, where did that ball go? I'll just have to just punch this thing up.
Yeah.
I don't want it to go high because fuck. So yeah, a lot of men, we're still living like our fathers lived. We're still having that same mindset, that same attitude. It makes us uncomfortable. A lot of men, when we feel uncomfortable, we run away. We don't want to have nothing to do with it. And being vulnerable and talking about our mental health is something that we're not used to. And we've got to break those cycles. It starts with us. Like, we've got to understand that it's a real thing. You know, people's lives are affected by it. And it's so important for me right now to break those generational cycles. Like, to understand my dad did the best he could with what he had. And I said, no, it's my responsibility now to model good behaviors to my kids. I understand, like, have these open dialogue with our children, especially our young boys.
Make sure that's all.
Yeah, so the big thing for us is just breaking those generational cycles and break those modeling behaviors that have been taught to us growing up. So that starts with us too. So if you're around your friends, around your mates, you know, lean into those uncomfortable conversations. If you've got a mate who's comfortable do it, and it sort of kind of freaks you out a little bit like that, just lean into it. Honestly, it only strengthens your guys' bond as mates. And really, like, you'd rather have an uncomfortable, worthwhile conversation with a mate about their mental health than, you know, be at his funeral. And that's where we are right now in our lives, where people are dying. You know, they'd rather die than talk about the things that are going inside their head. So if you really love your mate, if you really care about your mate, sit down and have a conversation with them. It could save their life. Oh! Oh my God. Are you kidding? In my head, I always slice it, so I tried to overcorrect and release it a little bit earlier, and I released it too early, and I did a massive hook. As you can see to the left there's a ton of trees, hooked it straight into a tree, thinking it's going to be lost forever. And then we just heard this big crack, and the ball rebounded another 50 meters directly onto the fairway. And there we are right now. That's golf though. You got to take the bad, and you got to take the good too. So nice little setup here. How's it changed me hosting a mental health podcast? It's definitely taught me, and definitely in situations when you're having a conversation with someone, it's definitely taught me to learn to sit and listen and be more present. Whereas, as you guys probably know, I love chatting, I'm a big talker. But when you're sitting down with someone and you're engaged in their conversation and they're bearing their heart and soul, and you're holding that space for them, it's so important to be present and just listen. Like, listening is such an underrated skill these days. I don't think we're all good enough listeners. I think we're all trying to put our opinions out there, you know, and try to outdo each other. You know, well, that happened to you, well, this happened to me. Like, it's always, I feel like it's almost kind of like the hurt Olympics, like who's been hurt the most, you know? Whereas there's so much grace in just actually sitting and holding space with someone and just listening to someone. You don't have to always offer advice or offer words of wisdom or offer your own experiences. Just, you know, some of the greatest chats I've ever had, you just sit down and just listen to someone, you know, and they feel heard, they feel seen. So I think learning to listen is definitely a massive thing that I've learned. Let me just think of another one. I'll just get this in. Oh, that went dead straight. That went dead straight, didn't it? We can all be a little bit self-absorbed a lot of the time. And when you're sitting there having these conversations with people, you definitely like learn a bit more compassion, understanding what people have gone through and what people are still going through. And like, you know, my life, I've lived such a privilege, such a blessing of a life where, you know, yeah, there's things that have happened to me and things that I've gone through and things that I've experienced, but like you chat to someone else about what they've gone through and you find a common understanding, like that shared suffering, but it really gives you a new perspective around life, what people, you know, have gone through and have dealt with. And, you know, a lot of all my guests, there's a common theme that they've all gone through some type of hardship and they've come out the other end, you know, regardless of what that hardship is. Like, you can take so much like strength in knowing, like, no matter what you've gone through, you know, there's always hope. Like, if you put effort and energy into it, there's always hope that you can make it out the other end. So this is hole 7, par 5, 522 meters. I do want to give a big shout out to Jake up at their Pigeon Golf Club. He's my coach, absolute legend. I really picked up the club like 6 months ago, and he's been amazing to work with. I'm not terrible. I used to be really, really bad, but I'm still obviously still improving. So I'll give a lot of credit to Jake, so I'll make sure I tag Jake in this clip as well. What's the next question?
Is healing something you complete, or is it something you always work on?
Oh, nice. Sort of ties into what we were talking about before. So healing for me is, yes, a maintenance, you could say that, but healing, the work never stops. What I've realized is that I was always very destination driven. Like I was always thinking like, once I get to this place, then I'll be finished, or then I'll be healed, or the work finishes. But the healing never stops. So I now look at it as not as a destination that we're going to reach one day, but I more feel like it's a direction rather than a destination. So there are always going to be times where your mental health, your mental fitness is going to get tested, is going to get challenged. But as long as you're heading towards that right direction, you're going to come out of it, you know, more often than not in a better place. Yeah, so I could probably offer any sort of tips or advice to people that are thinking like they're going to get to a destination and finally be, you know, cured or finally be fixed. I think you're kidding yourselves. I think you should change your mindset around that and understand that like you can put things in place in your life to put yourself on that direction of good mental health, because you got to understand there's always going to be days that are going to test you. It's going down the hill, Harry. It's going down the hill. Golf has definitely been one of those things where I've introduced my life, obviously to learn a new skill, be comfortable with being shit at the beginning. And obviously the social side of it, like it's a great excuse for all the boys to get together, have a round of golf, see each other. It scratches the itch in terms of like our competitiveness, because all my mates are, you know, a lot of them used to play some sort of competitive sport, whether it's cricket, rugby, surfing. So this has been perfect. Like I absolutely fell in love with it like a few months ago, and now it's just great. Like I love the social aspect of this and getting to see the mates, because I'm at an age where everyone's having kids, getting married, you know, moving away. And this is such a great excuse for us to get together for a couple of hours, see each other, catch up, talk a bit of shit, play some golf, have those deep chats if we need to. But it's just enjoy each other's company. I think it's so easy to lose our mates. It's so easy to like, you know, get a bit lazy and before you know it, you haven't seen some of your best mates for months or even years. So this is a great reason and a great excuse for everyone to catch up. Oh, it's the endless pursuit of a perfect game, Millington. You're never going to get there. Oh, so we've got a hole 8. It's a par 3. I've got a good feeling someone's going to hole in 1 this. I've got a really good feeling, but it's into wind though, so it might be a bit tricky. What's the question?
What do you think your closest mates think of you? And how would you like them to think of you?
Wow. Fuck, that's a good question. That's a really good question. All right.
Hey, that's good. That's funny. That's nice too.
I would honestly hope that my mates I hope that they recognize the amount of effort and energy and dedication I've put into changing myself and bettering myself and being a better human, but also being a better friend. Like I wasn't the best friend, and I can openly admit that during those dark times of my life, I wasn't the best friend. And my mates were always so supportive and understanding, and they always stood by me like through the hardest times. So I would love to know that my mates see change in me and see that I've tried my hardest to work on myself and to become a better friend and a better person. Yeah, like I've got some of the best mates, and such a blessing to have so many good role models as mates in my friends group. And there's a lot of times where like when I was going through like a dark spot in my life where I compared a lot of myself to my mates, and I actually didn't feel like, there was a time where I actually didn't feel worthy enough or good enough to be friends with them, because I put them on such a high pedestal and I looked up to all my mates so much that there's a time where I just felt like I don't deserve to be in this friends group. So I hope that they see someone who's worked on themselves a lot, and I don't need that external validation, and I understand that I don't need to be anyone else. I don't need to change or, you know, try to be more like them. My mates love me for who I am. So it's more so like, I hope my mates see that I love myself a lot more. But I mean, like, you can ask 2 of my mates right now if you want to get a little BTS if you want, and see what they really think. I'd normally chip this in, but my chip is not going very good at the moment, so we're just going to do a long putt. Ready? Maybe that slowed down a little bit too much.
That's it. But yeah, great shot, mate.
When you start something,
Yeah.
that's, let's just say it's something that's different to what all your group of friends have known you for, or that no one does, right? So
Yeah.
it's something different. So you
Yeah,
started
yeah.
something different.
Yeah.
How do you, if you have them, how do you deal with your insecurities or somewhat of like an imposter syndrome, saying like with your mates? So the question I'm asking is, you understand our group of friends.
Yeah.
You understand the way we've brought up, our humour, a lot of rugby players, a lot of locker room kind of mentalities.
Yeah.
And with those mentalities come not so much experience talking about mental health. So
Yeah.
I guess from your side of things, knowing that a lot of your friends have been brought up in those kind of environments, how did you feel?
I've seen a
jumping into
shift.
this?
I've seen a massive shift.
Yeah.
Like initially, there was hardly ever like any sort of deep chats around, you know, understanding why I'm doing it, you know, where the inspiration come from. But there's been a massive shift, especially the it's the mates that I chat to about it, like, because everyone's gone through their own shit. Like, everyone's got kids or everyone's gone through massive shifts in their life where their understanding around their mental health has changed a fair bit. So
Yeah,
it like
I'm still listening.
so when it's just changed heaps since I first started to where it is now. I think there's I think the boys are way more open because they've all experienced, you know, at some point in their lives, they've experienced, you know, their mental health dipping at one point or another. And I think it's just sort of bridged that gap where people don't feel alone anymore. So when the boys, you know, the footy boys get together and it's just like, oh, we'll just go to the pub when we feel shit, we'll just go to the pub.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the boys know now that that's actually not the best thing for you. So I think there's just been a massive shift in the friends group where there's not, a lot of them, it's not judgmental anymore.
No.
It's more curiosity. Like, if that works for you, maybe it might work for me.
Yeah, because I guess my question is framed around the fact that there would be those kind of insecurities around, you know, your mates.
Not anymore.
You know that, no, yeah,
Yeah.
at the start.
Yeah,
though.
at the start there was.
Yeah.
At the
start, I
start.
could imagine there
Yeah,
was.
at the start I was actually really embarrassed at the start.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm.
Yeah,
getting
I
to.
was like, I kind of wanted to hide it, to be honest with you, at the start, and then it wasn't until words sort of started getting out and like whispers started like hearing, and then people were listening to like, oh, Leffers was on, or like Brocco was on, or Lookie was on, and I think once I got some of the mates on, I think that sort of like really broke the ice with a few boys about like, you know, issues that people go through, and like when you see your best mates on there chatting about something, I think that sort of everyone drops their, you know, armor or their walls a little bit. Sorry, hey, I'm just making it hard for you, aren't I? Yeah, I think everyone sort of drops their guard a little bit and understands that, like, you know, everyone's actually dealing with their own shit that no one talks about. So it's gotten a lot easier, and I'm actually like not embarrassed or insecure around that side of me anymore.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say, like, not to tell you how you feel, but I wouldn't say it would be, I don't know, embarrassment's an interesting word to use, because I feel it would be like, it's just like anyone when they start out a dream that's unfamiliar to everyone else, you know, around them.
Yeah.
And then that would be a challenging part of it, is gaining the courage to start it.
Yeah.
Especially when no one around you is familiar with what this takes and what it is.
Yeah.
And especially since everyone around you also doesn't talk
Yeah.
about things.
Yeah.
Or the depths that you wanted to go to in this. So
Yeah.
I think it is an interesting kind of question in the sense of mindset. and
Yeah.
how
What do you
come
reckon,
to it.
Redding?
I reckon you're right about breaking down walls in the mates.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Just making it more something you can approach, you know.
A little bit easier.
Boys about.
Yeah.
Especially having the mates on at the start.
Yeah.
Spot on. I think.
Having the mates on was
Just made all like.
it's made all the other boys that were all mates put their walls down, seeing like guys that we've known for a long time be extremely vulnerable in such an open space.
Yeah.
It changed a lot. I think it changed a lot of
Yeah.
I guess people that were familiar with those guys.
Yeah.
And their mentality. It changed a lot of people's perspectives.
That's
Let me just bomb this.
That's
quickly.
the goal. That is the goal. So
Bomb it real quick.
let me just hit this 300 yards with these 3 wood.
Get straight up.
And he fucking does too.
Nah, I didn't.
Yeah, that's straight up. He's mimicked the last one. Pick up.
Hole 9, par 4. We're done after this. What's the question?
Who's a dream guest on your podcast and why?
So many. So that change, that's I thought about that so much. So like some of the people that I really look up to is you know, I've obviously got a sporting background. Like it'd be very easy to say like, you know, like especially rugby terms like Richard McCaw, Dan Carter, like All Blacks legends, or like, you know, LeBron would be good, or you know, I'm a massive Roger Federer fan, so I think it'd be easy to go with one of them. But like I'm sort of leaning to my creative side. So I actually really love Rick Rubin, the famous music producer. I think he's an absolute genius. I just recently been reading his book, and I just think his outlook on life and his outlook on expression and living authentically and getting, you know, his passion for creativity is something that I actually really resonate with and connect with. So Rick Rubin would be awesome. Like I love acting, so like Matthew McConaughey would be the best. I'm actually a big fan of Tony Robbins as well. Tony Robbins, Gabor Mate, who I saw live. Gabor Mate, like if you don't know him, he's a sort of an expert in trauma, child development. So he's definitely up there. But I think honestly at this point in time, I've seen a lot of episodes with Rick Rubin. I just think I could chat to him for hours. Like he's just so, I would love to pick his brain. Like he talks a lot about when musicians come in and work with him, you know, they want to write a hit song, like they want to, you know, do top of the charts, you know, they want a hit album, whatever it is. And they try to like write music that the audience is going to like. And his thing is like, you don't know what the audience is going to like. Like the audience is smarter than us. He said the best thing you can do for your audience is the best thing that you're going to do for yourself. So he's like, I want you to go in there and just write the best thing you could possibly can, and that is the best thing you could do for the audience. So I take that on board when I'm doing the podcast. Is like initially I was like, what topics or people can I get on that I know the audience is going to like, and I've sort of gone away from that. Is just what people can I get on that I genuinely would want to sit down for 2.5 hours and have a chat with, regardless if there's mics on or cameras there. What people do I want to get on that I would just love just to sit down around a campfire and just ask them questions, like pick their brain. They're the type of people and the type of attitude that I have when sort of wanting guests to come on. It's not about trying to get the most views or trying to get the most, you know, hooks or anything like that. I want to have honest and genuine conversations that are going to benefit me, benefit the audience. And when you do authentic conversations like that, you know, the audience really gravitate towards that. So I think Rick Rubin, Matthew McConaughey, yeah, and Gabor Mate. I think they're my top 3. Big thank you for everyone that's sending questions. This is going to be a continuous segment, I think. 9 holes, 9 questions. I think we might get different players next time. But thank you so much for sending all your questions in and being interested in the podcast. And there'll be new episodes releasing shortly. Thanks, guys. Yeah, see you hole it. Okay.